Well, let's get started here on a Tuesday afternoon with Ryan Newman, driver of the number 6 guaranteed rate Ford Mustang. Ryan, your 20th, it's hard to believe, 20th AllStar race coming up this weekend, Texas Motor Speedway. Is it hard to believe 20 years of AllStar races?
I guess, yeah. If you think about it, I got to start pretty early as a rookie, and got fortunate. My first real Cup win was the AllStar race. So to look back at it, it's I guess paid dividends because I haven't earned my way in other than that first AllStar race on many occasions. But in the grand scheme of things, that's part of the way it works, and just happy to be a part of it. It's a pretty special race, and I'm happy to see that they're including the pit crew back into the mix this year, more so than the past few years.
All right. If you've got questions for Ryan, we've got him here for a few minutes. We'll get started here with Bob. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Ryan, how do you expect the 510 horsepower to be any different than 550?
You know, I just learned about that over the weekend, and I'm kind of curious. I don't know what the exact number was on the initial AllStar package. Do you know that? That's my question to you. Remember, we started off with the reduced horsepower package for the very first AllStar race, but I don't remember if it was 430 or 450 or
I want to say 450, but I'm not positive.
And I think you're right, because I couldn't remember the exact number. That sounds right. I guess my point is we're taking a step towards that direction, and you know, we're already wide open all the way around the racetrack in Texas. So I think it's going to turn it into a mini Daytona or a mini Talladega, which you know has a sidebar, I guess, attached to it because of the way we race those racetracks and the situations that we're in. And you can make one little mistake, or you can be a part of somebody else's mistake a lot easier, it seems, at those racetracks. So I really just don't know. 3 and 4, I think, is going to be no issue. My biggest question is going to be more about how they prepare the racetrack and racing ability we're going to have with multiple grooves. And you know, when you reduce horsepower, it gets back to the point of usually the shortest distance is the best, especially when you're wide open. So you know, the draft is going to be pivotal. But again, if you can't make up for that distance, then it doesn't really matter.
And what do you know more about, A, the AllStar rules this weekend, or B, what you're doing next year?
I guess neither at this point, but probably what I'm doing next year is a better answer because I don't know, and I got a Cliff Notes version and didn't read it before I got on this call because I knew that you would know more than I did, no matter what. So because my point is there's too many things to try to remember, and I guess the crew chiefs are going to get some mental exercise as we go through each stage on Sunday.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ryan, I'm going to ask for Jordan Bianchi here, just sent one through the chat. Does the AllStar race still have the same significance it had when you won in 2002?
That's a good question. And I can look at that two different ways. In 2002, it paid $750,000, and now it pays $1 million. So that part's different. I think, you know, the criteria and how they do things are similar, but yet they're still quite a bit different. You know, when I won in 2002, there were teams that got eliminated as we went through stages, and we barely made the cut on multiple occasions. Got the invert, got to start up front, and you know, we're able to be fast and lead. And when we didn't take tires and the 8 car did, we were able to capitalize. I don't think all those things are going to be similar, but it's so much different. I think now, especially being in Texas versus Charlotte, and the car package, the aero package, and how we race is so much different. So yes, same luster, same you know, significance, and I'm not a fan of really any other sports for that matter, but you know, the AllStar games and the AllStar events and other sports, I think, are fairly equal to what we do. I guess my point is they are a pretty special event.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you. Good morning from Portland. Nice to have you join us. And nothing like a girl dad, so hello to your co-pilots as well. Uh, anyway, you've won two of NASCAR's crown jewels, the Daytona 500. You won the Brickyard. You probably still, have unfinished business with winning the Southern 500. Maybe a Coca-Cola 600 in the future. Other than those and winning a championship, what do you still have to accomplish while driving the NASCAR Cup Series?
Yeah, great question. And the reality is I'm way past the point of being more successful than a failure. After 700 plus starts and only 18 wins, there's not enough life in me to try to get that back to a 50-50 number. But you're right. I feel like I've been so close for the Coke 600, been so close for the Southern 500, a championship, a road course win, all those things I've been second in, which is nothing to be ashamed of. But at the same time, it's not achieving the goals that I want. And that's really where I stand and where I sit is just, I guess I said it to somebody. I don't want to have, and I don't mean it in a bad way by any means. And I think you know that knowing me, I don't want to have Mark Martin syndrome where you achieve a lot, but don't always achieve the things that you say you wanted to achieve. But I think that's the case for so many people. And there's guys in our sport that have not got their first top 10 or top 5. And, to have 18 wins and all that is special. And as many polls as I have is special. But it's a humbling sport, and you're never probably as successful as you think you can be or should be.
For a guy who, did so phenomenal with qualifying, how much is not being able to qualify right now hurting your ability to progress in the points and in the standings? Because you're generally starting from a deficit, and you can try to make it up during the race, but that's just not always possible given the wealth of the front of the field.
Yeah, it's there's whatever they call the law of diminishing returns, and that's the way the series kind of is right now. I don't mean it in a bad way, but the fact is, if you don't run well on one week, you start at a deficit the next week. And without practice, to your point, without practice in qualifying, you don't have much of a chance to work on your race car to make it better. There's only so many things that we can do adjustment wise to try to make gains through a 300 to 500 mile race. So it's got way more challenges than we've ever had. But those challenges are the biggest issue when you start at that deficit. So, and it carries over. Like it's, I'll just give you an example. We've struggled in the pits for a few weeks. This past weekend, we didn't struggle in the pits, but we struggled on the racetrack. And, it takes everything. So to keep moving up and try to gain some positions and gain starting spots and gain points and get stage points and things like that, if you don't start on the front side of it, I guess you could say you're going to be at that disadvantage for a long time throughout the year. And then as it resets, for the last 10 races, it becomes a different type of animal if you're in that group of 16 or if you're not.
Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Let's go to Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff. You're up.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, Ryan. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Brooklyn. Hello, Ashland. Nice to see you guys. But my question for you is, this being your 20th All-Star event, if you can remember, of course, would appreciate any insight on this. What's been your favorite format? And I know it's not up to you by any stretch, but are there any changes you'd like to see to the All-Star event? Maybe going to a new track every year, maybe making an adjustment with the car. What would be your ideal All-Star event?
I don't know that it necessarily matters what I think. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I think that the opportunity to move the All-Star Race around and do as they started to do and having it in Texas versus, where it's been in the last 20 plus years in Charlotte is a good thing. The format, it's like a recipe, right? You can make cookies a million different ways. In the end, you still have a cookie. Not everybody's going to like that cookie, but there's a chance you're going to like it. Maybe not as much your favorite recipe, but and I really don't know that I have one. I guess to stop talking about cookies and making myself hungry. I know that the way I want it eliminated competition, but in reality, that competition's eliminated anyway. I mean, you're not going to go from 20th to first in 10 laps. It just doesn't happen. So it's it kind of is what it is, and we deal with the ingredients that NASCAR provides for the AllStar race going into it, and you just do your best to try to make up for what you're lacking, whether it's track position, starting position, things like that, and make a good day out of it.
You recently made your seventh start on the Cup Series circuit, so belated congratulations there. But when you look at this sport from where you start, it seems like only yesterday, you ran in the 02 car in the Winston Open back all those years ago. But how pleased are you with where NASCAR is today compared to where it was back in 02, and how can they almost recapture the allure they had at the turn of the century?
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible. I think society's changed so much. People have changed so much that you can compare it, and it's fair to compare it. But in the end, I don't think that you can target that as a goal. It's just because things have changed. It's just not the same, and I don't know that you'd want it to be the same. But it's definitely no doubt different in good ways and different in bad ways. And that's just the way life is, I guess. That's my experience in doing this 20 plus years.
Totally cool. I'm off to get some cookies. So thank you for your time and insight.
Thanks, Jeff. Let's go to Claire B. Go ahead, Claire. Claire, we can't hear you here, so just I'm going to unmute.
I said I'm hoping to get him on Jack's Garage, and I can only ask one question here, but I do want to ask you for news reason, and I want to make sure and get it right. I know how much you want to win a championship, Ryan, and does racing part-time or any love of racing to be a part of it, if it does come to that, would that fulfill that in you, or are you like all in, or do you not know? You know what I mean? I know how bad you want that championship in your gut, right?
Yeah, it's always been my ultimate goal from the time I was, in elementary school. Let's leave it simple like that. Not a certain age, but when I was very young. And that's on my radar still, will always be on my radar, whether I achieve it or not, because that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to the competitiveness of what we do. So I don't know. I don't know what all the steps will be, but ultimately, that's where my mind and heart will always want to be.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Claire. Let's go to Ashley. Ashley, go ahead.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for your time today. Looking at the sport and the variety of different trophies that there is, what one would you say is your favorite?
Ryan, you're muted.
Sorry, I didn't even mute myself. What was what was special? You asked what was in what detail, what respect?
So looking across the sport at all the different unique trophies, which one is like the favorite trophy that you kind of dream of adding to your collection, just basically by uniqueness or specialty of it?
So I think that the no-brainer for me for the most special trophy I've ever earned and been a recipient of was the Daytona 500 in 2008, the 50th running. I have the one and only. When I say that, the one and only, there's a replica made for the team owner and whatnot. But the original, the one and only, given in Victory Lane, gold Harley J. Earl Trophy, and that commemorates the 50th running of the 500. So that will always be. I don't know that there's anything that could be more special than that. Even a Cup Championship trophy. Wouldn't think that has the significance of 50 years of the sport and the people that I've followed as a driver and as a fan before I was ever my own race car driver in NASCAR. So that the Brickyard 400 was really special, just because I'm from Indiana, and the yard of bricks and the brick that comes on the trophy. And then I always keep my my second place finish in the 2014 championship. That was just a significant race because it was one race. We were so close. We got beat, but we gave it 100%, and we got 100%. We just didn't have enough.
And NASCAR is basically using the 550 package this weekend, but I believe when we go back to there in November, they're using the 750 package. So What can you learn this weekend that could apply to then, or because of it being different packages, you can't learn anything?
Yeah, so my understanding, we're going there with, I guess, call it the 510 or whatever package this time, and I would assume that's the 550 package back in the fall. I wouldn't think we would go there with the 750 package. If that's the case, that's news
No,
to me.
you're sorry. You're probably right with that. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. So I don't think it'll be a whole lot different. Because we're at such close to terminal velocity, a lot of it depends on the weather and the track position. When I say terminal velocity, you're wide open all the way around the racetrack, and it's just a matter of how little bit of drag you have in your car and what your package is. So, I don't know how different it's going to be, but I know that it will be different because the AllStar Race is hero or zero. Drive it like you stole it, and there will be some drivers that are like that in the fall race in Texas because of the playoff situation. But overall, it's going to be much more mild in the fall race than it will be at the AllStar Race, in my opinion.
Thanks for your time.
Yep.
All right, Ryan, we're going to close it out. One more from Lee Spencer, and then we'll let you go. Go ahead, Lee, finish us up.
You really impressed me, the fact that at 40 something, you decided to make your debut in the Chili Bowl Nationals. And I'm just kind of curious, how much did that test you as a driver? Because you're running not only against teenagers, you're running against guys like Kyle Larson. We don't have to go into what he's done here of late, but and Bell and, guys that do that on a weekly basis. And I'm just wondering, how much did that really test your driving skills?
I wouldn't say it tested my driving skills. It just, I had to knock off some rust that I had from over the years. I never drove a midget like that. And we talked about it at the Chili Bowl. Never drove a midget like that with that much power to weight ratio and lifting the front tires off the ground. When I drove midgets back in 93 and 4 and 5, when I raced mostly on dirt then, or ran dirt as well as pavement is what I'm trying to say. And for me, it was just kind of an opportunity, very thankful for Driven to Save Lives and Clausen Marshall Racing to give me that opportunity to go out there and do that. And, this past year, I wasn't as successful as I was the year before, but I had my kids there and they got the chance to see it and be a part of me racing in the Chili Bowl, which is a different kind of special. But it's just racing. I've always admired, and then you've heard me say this too, I've admired guys that can drive anything, anywhere, and anytime, like the AJ Foyts, the Tony Stewarts, and now the Kyle Larsons of the world. So that's just the way I look at it. It's just a part of what my makeup is, and I've always looked at myself as a racer, not a stock car racer or a midget racer or a go-kart racer or a quarter midget racer, just a racer. And if I got an opportunity to jump in something that's good, I'll strap a helmet on and do it.
You think we'll see you with Tim Clausen and also come next January?
Don't know about next January. I'm hoping to be able to do the BC 39 race, which I think they've announced at Indy. So want to be able to do it some more, but it's got to be the right time and the right place, because I've always said, and you've heard this before, that I won't take away from what do we do in the Cup Garage, and that's been a challenge in more ways than one with the lack of practice and all the things that we have to do now with the simulators and whatever else. So want to be the best person, the best driver I can be.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.